FCF, I wonder how patient you are. Patience is usually something we joke about, and it's usually something we all struggle with. I want to give you something to think about. Patience would not be needed if evil was not existent. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, wait a minute, Randy. Even Adam and Eve were not going to be instantaneously mature. They were going to grow gradually, so wouldn't they have to be patient? Well, maybe, but maybe it would never enter their mind. Patience is usually the result, the best that I can see it, it's a result of living in a world where everyone is not doing God's will all the time, everywhere. If we were living in a world where everyone, all the time, everywhere, was doing God's will, I don't think there would be a need for patience. Let me go further. If we lived in a world where everyone was doing God's will all the time, everywhere, and there was no such thing as death, because death and evil go together, there would be no need for patience. Think about it. If you had all the time of eternity, you wouldn't mind if you had to put a lot of time in doing something, because there would be no lack of time to come. All right. So conditions on earth tend to get us in an impatient stage, particularly when we view the promises that God gives to us in His Word about how He is going to return, He is going to establish His kingdom, and it's ultimately going to go into the creation of a new heaven and a new earth where never again will evil exist. James, some of the writers that James was writing to, Jewish Christians that had been scattered abroad, they were struggling with the conditions they were in as they reflected on what the world would be like once Christ finally returns. In James chapter 5, verse 7, James says, "Be patient then, brothers and sisters, until the Lord's coming. See how the farmer waits for the land to yield its valuable crop, patiently waiting for the autumn and spring rains. Brothers and sisters, as an example of patience in the face of suffering, take the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord." So you pick up when you read that chapter that the people James was writing to, they were really tired of the circumstances that existed because of evil's presence in the world, because God's kingdom had not come in its fullness. His will was not being done on earth as it is in heaven. And yet they had this tension because they knew that He promised that He would return, He would establish His kingdom. There would be a world where there's no sin, sorrow, sickness, pain, and death. And they wanted that, as do all of us on some level. Now the danger is that we can get so desirous of that perfect existence that God created us for, by the way, that we get impatient, and it becomes a negative dynamic in our lives in this present world. Because when evil is existent, we have to learn patience. We have to learn patience when sometimes we are going through things we know on some level shouldn't exist. We shouldn't be going through them. When we're treated in certain ways where maybe we know we shouldn't be treated, or maybe no one should be treated. But there's just everyday sufferings that occur. We start to get some aches and pains, or we start to have some time schedule frustrations because we lack time. And when we feel like we lack time and we're trying to get too many things done, it makes us feel more impatient. We lose our patience quicker because we're trying to squeeze so many things into a tiny space. Technology has allowed us to do so many things so much faster, but because we can do so many things so much faster, we add things to our schedules, and we still end up impatient because we can't get everything done in a little bit of time we have left. And then if the technology ever breaks down in any way, we really lose our patience. So we that are followers of Christ during this journey, we've got to always tuck this away, that there's two things. We've got to learn to be patient in the circumstances that we're in, and we've got to learn to be content in the circumstances we're in. It doesn't mean we're satisfied. It doesn't mean that we're going to accept that we're going to be enduring circumstances, learning patience forever. That's not true. But we're going to be patient until the Lord returns, until His will is done on this earth as it is in heaven, and until death is no more, and we have literally all the time in the world to do whatever we want to do. Until then, patience is critical, because when we are impatient, it spills over into pretty much every part of our life. It will affect our relationships. It will affect our walk with Christ. It will affect our internal peace. It will affect our ability to serve others in the name of Christ. So learning to be patient is a powerful thing. And truth be told, if we can gain steam, gain some ground in being patient, it usually gives us an upper hand in any other challenges we may be facing. Because almost everything takes more time than what we want it to take. All right. We'll close there today, and I hope that you'll be patient until we see you next week.